What's up, everybody? It's HBT with Straight Up Wrestling Show. Guys, here just to talk a few random things, man. I'm going to talk about WWE, and WWE wanting it all, guys. And I'm going to talk about Cody Rhodes, guys, and how to maximize Cody Rhodes' full potential. Hey, are we getting the full potential of Cody Rhodes, guys? So we can talk about how the WWE, how wrestling can get Cody Rhodes' full potential. And then, guys, I'm going to talk about Sugar Ray Leonard, guys. Sugar Ray Leonard. I'm talking a little bit about boxing, guys. Sugar Ray Leonard and Bud Crawford. This morning, I was listening to something, and I ran across a little site, a guy, he's talking about, the Bud Crawford. He's talking about Bud Crawford. He's talking about Sugar Ray Leonard. And, of course, Bud Crawford has a match coming up. Terrence Bud Crawford has a fight coming up against Canelo Alvarez. So I'm definitely going to talk about that. And, guys, hey, just give me a minute and let me go ahead and, I want to get a couple things settled here. And we will, get into it, man. We're definitely going to get into it. Straight up. All right. Just give me a second here, guys. Oh, gosh, man. Wow, this ain't right. This ain't what I'm trying to do. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But hopefully I'm live, man. I'm hoping I'm live right now. Yeah, it looks like I am. Okay. What in the world? Okay. Live. I need to go to where I'm live online here. Okay. This thing, man, don't even want to show me live. There I am, man. I have a blur in my background, guys. But that's okay, man. I decided to blur this thing. But yeah, I appreciate everybody coming in. Appreciate everybody coming in and rocking with me. But if you're on Facebook, go ahead and hit that like, share, join. If you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, ding, ding, ding. So you know when we're on like times like these. Do the same thing over on Twitch that you do here on YouTube. And if you see us over on Twitter, man, it's called X now. Hit that like, share, tweet, and retweet. And follow the Straight Up Wrestling Show. But all right. But give me just a second here. I want to do something over here on Facebook. Let me go ahead and share this thing real quick. Want to go ahead and get that in. And then, man, we will talk about WWE and why I think, the WWE, it's not why I think. All the evidence is out there. The WWE wants it all, guys. That's the way I look at it. And I mean, pretty much it's the truth. They want everything. They want everything. What in the world's going on with my phone here? But yeah, the WWE wants it all, guys. And so that's what we're going to get into. But yeah, that's what I'm going to get into in just a second here. All right. But yeah, the WWE, I don't know if any of you have watched the WWE's Evolve program. Evolve. They have Evolve. It's over on Tubi, guys. It's over on Tubi. Chris and myself, we watched it. Chris and myself, we watched it a couple days ago, and we did it live while we was watching it. We pretty much synced it. It wasn't live. So we pretty much went back and we was watching the video. He was watching at his house. I was watching at my house. And we had some of our friends here on YouTube and Facebook pretty much follow along, and they watched it too. But we watching that, and man, watching this program, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, I'm like, why in the world are they doing this? And a lot of it has to do with that WWE ID. Now the WWE Evolve is not new. It's not new. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's new. They have ran that program before. It's something that the WWE has been doing for years. And so they've shown that. It's something that they've been doing for years. But now they have put it on Tubi. And with this WWE ID thing that they're doing, they're going around the WWE ID thing. It goes around to the indies. It goes to the indies, and they're picking out the best wrestlers in the indies, the best wrestling schools, and they picking out the best wrestlers from the indies, and they bringing them over to WWE ID, and they pretty much getting them involved in the culture. And I'm pretty sure once they bring them over, they're signing some kind of contract. I'm not sure exactly how long the contract is, but I'm pretty sure some of them are going to get a pretty, maybe a year or two lucrative, some kind of lucrative deal. And when I'm talking about lucrative, I can't even say the word lucrative deal, is that, they're going to sign them for a couple years or whatever, take them off the indie scene and take them off the radar of anybody else. Now, I'm not going to say TNA would have access to these wrestlers. Now, of course, they'll have access to them because TNA is basically part of the WWE. AEW will not have access to these to these guys who are probably some of the best, or probably the cream of the crop in the independent on the independent scene. So AEW loses out on that. They lose out right there. And anybody else who wants to sign these indie wrestlers, you can look at MLW or you can look at the NWA. Hey, they all lose, man. They all lose because the WWE has thrown their, they've thrown their hat into the ring. They thrown their, they pretty much pitched their, they pretty much pitched their quarter into the bucket and on the independent scene. So what does that mean? I mean, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money when it boils down to it, because look, what you can do is, as far as on the indies, a lot of these guys on the indies, they just don't make money. Let's just be straight up honest. They're not making a lot of money. They making anywhere from, $15, working for free, making $15 on up to $45, $75, maybe $100 if you are, upper echelon. Even the upper echelon, like I say, their fee, they 75 to maybe now I say 125, 150. Some of them getting paid a little bit more. It really depends, and it depends on where they're at. So of course these guys are signing with WWE, and they have a place for them to go and work on TV, evolve. Even though it's on Tubi, they're working on TV and it's free. So it's like an ongoing thing. And so yes, they will be able to draw people and draw people with these indies and these indie stars. A lot of these indie stars out here, they're building names other places, and those people who followed them are going to come over to Tubi and they're going to start checking that out. That's all it is to it, man. That's all it is to it. So, but still, once again, I look at WWE Evolve, and they putting this on Tubi. And they putting it on Wednesday nights. Now, it comes on Wednesday nights. Now, it's not live, but it comes on at the same time that AEW Dynamite comes on. So what is that telling you? What are they doing here? If it's coming on at the same time as AEW Dynamite, then they are looking to put AEW Dynamite basically out of business. Basically out of business. I mean, it's running a monopoly when it boils down to it. And, somebody out here, when it boils down to it, they can go and try to sue the WWE. And if Tony Khan tried to do that, I wouldn't blame him. And I'm going to be straight up. I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't blame him if he decided that that's something that he maybe want to pursue, because the WWE, they are trying to run a monopoly of the wrestling business. If anybody don't see it that way, then, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you, but I definitely think they're trying to run a monopoly. Now, do I have a problem with them trying to do what they're doing? No, I don't have a problem with what they're trying to do, but it's gonna hurt. It hurts the wrestling business, man. It does. It hurts. It hurts a lot of people with them doing that. But man, I just don't know. I just don't know. Wrestling now, the WWE has did this before. It's nothing new that they're doing. They've done this before. And with the ending of WCW in 2001, or was it 2002? I think it was 2001 when the WWE ceased. I mean, WCW ceased to exist, and WWE. That's what we've seen. That's what we've had since then. We've had nothing else that pretty much can compete with WWE. I mean, you've had TNA, but TNA really is no competition. And, ECW, you had that for a brief time. But, and the WWE ended up absorbing that. And you had Jim Cornette running this thing out at Smoky Mountain Wrestling. But really, that wasn't competition. They haven't had competition in a long time. So they basically run their own ship. They doing what they wanted to do. Vince was doing what he wanted to do. But it backfired when it boiled down to it. Because after WCW went down, as the years went, they lost millions and millions of fans every single year. They were losing hundreds of thousands at first, and then it got to the point where they was losing like 1 million. So they kept losing fans, until we got to the point where we're at now. And you had the WWE, you had the brass, you have the WWE, all the talking heads, and even veterans out here who doing podcasts. Oh, it's better than it's ever been. It's better than it's ever been. We've never been this good. You're making money. You're making a bunch of money, and a lot of that, there's a lot of record revenue and everything that WWE was pretty much bringing in. But that's because of inflation. The ticket prices just went out of this world. And wrestling has a group of fans. It definitely has a group of fans, but it's like a minute group of fans. It's kind of like before Tiger Woods came in the golf. Golf just basically had a little small group of fans, and that was very loyal to it. NASCAR, very little small group of fans. But when I was growing up, man, in the 70s and 80s, in the 90s, basically, my years of when I was elementary school in the 70s and 80s, as a teenager in the 80s and 90s, basically, man, everybody was watching wrestling. Everybody. You could find wrestling fans from every walk of life. You can't find that now. Wrestling fans, they're a small group of wrestling fans. And somebody said something to me, who's a big wrestling fan, and her husband is a wrestling fan. And they did a show in North Carolina. And, I was at that show. I was one of the commentators with a friend of mine. And, the fans couldn't stand the show that was brought there. It was a different organization that had it before. And then this was a different booker, came and did something different. And that friend of mine said to me, that wasn't a wrestling crowd. She said that was not a wrestling crowd that we had at that show. Because the show that was there before, they brought people in from all walks of life. You saw business people coming there. You just saw all different type of people, man. I mean, salesmen and things, like people that did different things. People that you wouldn't expect to see at a wrestling show now that was coming in there, because the wrestling was so different. But this guy, he brought a wrestling show, just a regular wrestling show that you will see today. A lot of the wrestlers older, but you had a lot of younger wrestlers, but it was basically something that you see off of off of WWE today, or something that you see off of TNA, or something that you see off AEW. It was basically close to the same thing. And those fans really didn't like it. They was like, oh, they thought it was trash, straight up. But that friend of mine, who's married to the booker, told me that wasn't a wrestling crowd. And she was right. It wasn't a wrestling crowd. It wasn't the crowd that we see today. And that's one of the things that wrestling now have settled for. I would say WWE and WWE and AEW have settled for these crowds. And of course, the WWE, they want all of it. They want what AEW has. They want their fans. Of course, they want TNA fans, and they're involved with them. They're meshed in with them. They want the people that's watching MLW. They want the NWA fans. They want everybody. They want the indie fans, because that adds to their bottom line. The WWE is like, okay, we can't grow new fans, because that's what believe me, that was the goal, is to grab new fans, to grab pretty much those old school fans that used to watch it years ago. And believe me, there's a lot of them out there, a lot of older Gen X, I'm Generation X. A lot of us are still out there, and a lot of baby boomers, young baby boomers, the ones in their 60s, maybe up to 70s. early 70s that still want to watch wrestling, that still love wrestling. There's a lot of fans out there, millions, that still want to watch it. And the WWE was hoping that they will grab those fans. AEW was hoping that they come in and grab those fans. But that haven't been the case because of the style of wrestling is just so different. It's not just style of wrestling. I ain't going to say style of wrestling. I think this style is fine. And this style could get over with the fans of yesteryear. I have no problem with the way they wrestling inside the ring. The problem I have is storylines are not, no consistency there. And there's no character building. And the chaos, the chaos is just overwhelming. It's all the time. And when I was growing up, man, I watched wrestling because there was always an ending to, you didn't just watch it for the beginning of something, like a beginning of a storyline. It was always an ending. It was always something dramatic, a dramatic ending, not people get, and the thing about it is, you didn't have wrestlers all the time getting jumped before they got to that show that they was going to have this big match with this person, whoever the person was going to be. But now you having everybody getting jumped. They just fighting, wrestling now. And the WWE done fell into this too. AEW was doing it mostly at first. But the WWE has fallen into this trap too. That they just fighting, man. Wrestling now is just like, it's a fight, man. It's a fight. And when I was growing up, hey, I respected wrestling and loved watching wrestling because it was like any other sporting event, in my opinion. Even though, it was combat, but it was a lot of it was like boxing and any other thing. Like, like if I'm gonna sit there and watch football, I would watch wrestling more than I did football. That's the way I looked at it. And it was a sporting event. These guys presented themselves as athletes, and athletes have honor. There's an honor with athletes. Of course, you had the heels, which, good guy, bad guys. That's what we just called them back then. Good guy, bad guys. And the bad guys would cheat a lot. They would cheat. And we expected that. But still, even if they cheated and won, they walked back to the ring with their head held up, maybe arguing with the fans or whatever. But that wrestler, that fan favorite that was in the ring, walked out with honor all the time. Rather win or lose, walked out with honor. I want to see wrestlers, especially champions, people that have championship belts. I want to see them walk to the back room without getting attacked every week. Now, you can do that every now and then. It used to happen back in the day. But every single week, getting popped over the head with a trash can or something like that, getting thrown into the doggone steel steps, somebody picking them up and throwing them through a table all the time, over and over again. Wrestling don't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be like that. And that's what wrestling has turned into. And WWE has fell into that trap. And I'm like, you're not going to build an audience. You're not going to build a new audience. You're not going to build up your crowd. And you're not going to run that that same tired stuff week in and week out and think you're going to keep the attention of the old wrestling fans when we convince them, and I've convinced plenty of them, come back and watch. And then they say it's getting embarrassing to watch. They stop watching. So you have people like me, the People's Podcaster, my partner. A lot of these podcasters out here, we're doing our best to try to get people back interested. And I know a lot of podcasters, not just podcasters, a lot of wrestling fans go out there and try to talk to fans and try to get them back interested. And, those fans may come back and they may watch, but how long do they watch? And how fast do you turn them off? Let me see. All right, Christine Saucy Girl says, hi, Harry. Hey, how you doing, Christine? Christine Saucy Girl is in the house. Appreciate you coming in, Christine. But, man, I'm just like, wow. We got to do something different. But WWE, like I said, WWE, if you haven't seen this Evolve thing, it's not bad. It's basically like an indie with a little bit more money, and they have a platform, and they have a platform to where people can see them. So, they have, they went on to Tubi, and they bringing in a lot of different people. So we're going to see a lot of different names. out here. A lot of different names and a lot of these wrestlers coming up from the indies. But still, once again, you have to look at it and say, why is WWE doing this? Because they want it all. They want it all. They want to pretty much wipe out everything and be the sole proprietor of the wrestling business. They just do. They just do. And it's more corporate now than it was before, even though it was corporate before. Vince McMahon is big business. And, he ran it, the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, and the WWE, now World Wrestling Entertainment. He ran it as big business. It's big business. TKO Holdings, man, is involved in it. And TKO Holdings, that's a holding company, man. And all they worry about, holding companies worry about is bottom line profit and, pretty much securing that buck for their shareholders, making sure they're making money. That's what they do. And Endeavor the same way. And, because they even talking, Endeavor, which is pretty much over, Endeavor and Dana White runs, UFC, and they talking about taking that and putting that on Netflix too. Taking it from ESPN and putting it on Netflix. And, I don't blame them on that. ESPN is not what it used to be. There's no doubt about that. But they're talking about putting it on Netflix. So that right there can raise the level of what's going on with TKO Holdings. It's going to help them out because right now Netflix is not too happy with the WWE. I don't know if the ratings don't went back up. I'm going to have to go back and check that out. But they're not really that happy with it when it boils down to it. But, you can't. And one thing the WWE is they're dependent on the semantics, man. They're dependent on all this crazy stuff that they do for fans to pretty much stick in there and continue to check them out. I mean, what we just had a couple weeks ago, just had the Elimination Chamber. One thing, okay, you had Elimination Chamber, and then right after that, okay, everything's going towards WrestleMania. But they do a great job. WWE, all they want to do is point out what we have coming up. And it's basically they pointing out, they want you to focus on that, the Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber. They want you to focus, WrestleMania. They want you to focus on the big show, the PLEs that they're coming up with. And your attention goes to that instead of looking at them and pretty much, the fans demanding that, hey, you give us good storylines. There's no time for storylines because there's always a PLE and they just throwing random matches together. They have a little storyline. I will say a little storyline going with each and every one of them. But are they meaningful storylines? And maybe a lot of young people. I see AJ Skills is in the house. I appreciate you coming in, AJ Skills. A lot of young people, a lot of people that just started wrestling. They may think they're great storylines. They may think that. Do I think that? No. I don't, because I saw so many great storylines growing up. 70s and 80s, 90s wrestling, man. I saw so many great storylines, things that you remember to this day. To this day, man. I mean, it's just seared in your memory like a Super Bowl. Like your favorite team went to the Super Bowl. These great matches are seared into your memory like that. And true wrestling fans, they can't get it out of their heads. They can't. That's why we continue to talk about it. Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair, man, that happened, that was 1989, the last time those guys met. And people still talking about it today. And they had it on the, that new the new WCW thing that they put on YouTube, that little the page that they put on. And hundreds of thousands of people are on there talking about, hey, man, this is the greatest match I've ever seen. This is the greatest match. Young people, wrestling fans today, talking about how great that match was. But us older people who saw all that back in the day, we're telling them that's not the best match between those two. It definitely wasn't. I saw better matches when I was growing up watching them at the Greenville Memorial Auditorium. They used to come every Monday night. Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling used to come every Monday night. So I saw a lot of Flair Steamboat matches. A lot. And they used to put on performance. Those guys were both in their 20s at that time, man. You know, Ricky was in his mid-20s in 79 to 82, and Ric Flair was in his late 20s, and then he got into his 30s, man. They between 79 and 82, 77 to 82, 5 years, that 5 years, those guys went back and forth. They would jump back and forth in feuds, and those guys would go at each other, man. They was both young. They was younger than what they were in 89. In 89, Flair had hit 40 years. You know, he basically was on, let me see, he was born in 51. Flair was 38 years old, and Steamboat was like 36, 35. But I saw those guys when they was in their late 20s, man, mid-20s to late 20s. They was awesome. They was great wrestlers, man. They was outstanding. And I like Flair better at that time. I like the old Flair better than I like the new Flair, the Flair that came out and just started using all the chops. Because the older Flair used to use even more moves. He had more moves than he had later on. But let me go ahead and get all these comments here. All right, Christine says, it's getting to the point where it's almost no fun and not enjoyable to watch anymore. Exactly. AJ Scales, hey, Harry, E-Live Wrestling Show. Episode 3 is tonight on Tubi. Yes, sir. Are you and Chris doing a live screen? Or on even, on the evening on the Evolve live wrestling show? I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure Chris will want to do that. I don't know if I'm gonna do that one or AEW. I'm not sure. I'm not sure right now. I would like to do Evolve, but I mean AEW. Man, that's it's we're gonna have to think on that one. We're gonna have to think on that one. But I'm sure Chris we may do Evolve. I'm pretty sure that's the one he's gonna want to do, AJ. Straight up. But man, goodness sake. But yeah, it's getting to that point, Christine. I agree with you as far as it's getting to the point where it's not really enjoyable to watch. Because nothing, a lot of things just don't make sense in the way they're doing things. But I definitely hope they capitalize on that Jade situation with Naomi. They have to. They have got to. Make something special out of that. Definitely make something special out of that. But yeah, WWE, they want it all. They want it all. And all right, so let's go on and talk about Cody Rhodes, guys. Hey, Cody Rhodes is the world champion. And hey, make no mistake about it, Cody Rhodes is so popular. I know that you have a large contingent out here in the IWC that don't like Cody Rhodes. You got a lot of people who wanted Cody Rhodes to turn heel. I kept saying that's a mistake, and I'm glad they haven't turned him heel because he's very popular. Right now, Cody Rhodes is the most popular wrestler in the world. He just is, as far as professional. Talking about professional wrestling, he's the most popular professional wrestler in the world. Roman have taken off. I mean, maybe he wouldn't be now if Roman wasn't part-time and was doing what he was doing. But, hey, you got to give it to Cody Rhodes. He's the most popular wrestler in the world today. And Cody Rhodes, man, Cody Rhodes could be a great champion. You still have time. Now, I think his reign has been pretty decent, but he really have not wrestled the guys who can put him on the next level. And, put him on the level of, and I'm talking about great world champions, Ric Flair, Terry Funk, Dory Funk, Jack Briscoe, Hardy Race, let's see, Bruno Sammartino, Bob Backlund, those Nick Botwinkle, Vern Gagne. And, of course, I'm not going to say Hulk Hogan. Even though Hulk Hogan was a long-time champion, do I think he was a great champion? He was okay. But, I mean, you can even put him on – you can throw him in there. But the guys I mentioned before, Hulk Hogan, they was just great tacticians in the ring. They was just great champions. Those guys knew how to wrestle. They knew how to get it done. They was great workers. And even Terry Funk, guys, and I know when some people, when they hear that name, if you didn't see Terry Funk before he became this brawler in 1989, 1990, when he attacked Ric Flair, and then he went up to ECW. If you didn't see him, man, back in the 70s and early 80s, if you didn't see him then, you didn't see Terry Funk. You just didn't. You don't know nothing about it. Terry Funk was an incredible technical wrestler, guys. Technical wrestler with brawling skills, man. He was just outstanding. He was outstanding. Wasn't as good as his brother. Now, that's one, some people are talking about he's greatest of all time. He's actually the GOAT. No, Dory was better. Dory Funk Jr. was better than Terry Funk. Terry Funk's good, but it wasn't as good as Dory. No flipping way. Dory held the NWA World Championship for over 4 years, 4.5 years. That's when there was the #1 belt in the world. Okay. But yeah, Dory Funk, man, Dory Funk Jr. is just an incredible wrestler. Even when he wasn't a world champion, I looked at him, I still said, hey, that guy right there is the best wrestler in the world, man. Just Dory Funk Jr. was something. He was something, man. But yeah, Terry, I got to give it to him. He was able to prolong his career, went over to ECW, became this tough guy. The way he was always a tough guy, but he started wrestling all these hardcore matches and was able to prolong his career and gain fans. Pretty much gained a whole new generation of fans with all that hardcore stuff that he did. But he definitely not the GOAT, straight up. And like I said, he's not as good as Dory. Not as good as Dory. But man, all right. But yeah, Cody Rhodes. Only person I say he pretty much, they had a little feud with him and Seth freaking Rollins for a little while. And he ended up doing that thing with The Rock, had that match with The Rock, had that little thing with The Rock. But man, to me, they haven't did anything significant with him. They can revisit that feud with Seth and put him in a feud with Seth. They can give him a feud with CM Punk. Now it look like they're gonna do something with John Cena, but John Cena is a part-time guy. I just don't really see that as you're really gonna be a legit feud when it boils down to it. Now, John Cena may beat him, and then he'll come back and beat him, and there's a story with it in that. But is that a legit feud? Because look, I want him in legit feuds, man, with Seth Rollins, and I'm talking about something that goes on 3-4 months. CM Punk. Let's see. What is his name? Drew McIntyre. That's 3 names right there you could put him in a feud with, and that will be outstanding. Sheamus, put him in a feud with Sheamus. Those 4 feuds. You got 3, 4. You got 3, 6. I say 7. If you put those 4 feuds together right there, man, you have like 14, 15 months of greatness from Cody Rhodes. And you got to have Cody Rhodes go over in each and every one of them. You have to have Cody Rhodes defeat these guys in numerous matches. Not just 1 or 2 and say, hey, it's over with. But you got to let these guys give back just as good as they get. And it's got to go back and forth. But Cody wins the matches. And then Cody retains his title. You got to do that. You have to do that if you want to maximize his potential. And I'm pretty sure Cody would like to see his potential maximized. If you want him going down as an all-time great world champion, that's what you need to do for Cody Rhodes. You need to maximize what he has. Cody Rhodes is one of the only guys out here who could pretty much, in my opinion, grab the attention of the general public for wrestling. In WWE, if you want to build your brand, if you want to build, well, your brand is already there. But if you want to build your audience, get back to what wrestling used to be, use Cody Rhodes and put him in those type of situations. It has to happen. Has to happen. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and the next topic I'm gonna talk about, and like I say, I'm going to boxing. 2 boxers that I respect, and I'm gonna talk about that. But Cody Rhodes, who can I compare him to, man, when it boils down to it? Who can I compare him to as far as back in the day? As far as a champion. What kind of legacy? I say now that I think about it, I think Cody Rhodes could be now, because Sting was a world champion. I think Cody could be a better world champion than what Sting was. He's a better wrestler than Sting. I love Sting now. I love Sting. I ain't gonna say he's more exciting than Sting. Not many people were, but I think he's a better wrestler, in my opinion, than Sting. If Sting has a legacy the way he has a legacy, Cody Rhodes can have that same type of legacy. Let's see. Randy Savage, Macho Man Randy Savage was a good world champion. Cody Rhodes is better. I think Cody Rhodes, Bret the Hitman Hart was a good world champion. Cody Rhodes can have a run just as good as Bret. I think probably a little bit better. And the opponents are out there for him. I think Cody has better competition than when Bret was the champion. I mean, there's an argument. There's an argument that there's better competition right now in the WWE than it was when Brett was champ. He's definitely a better champion than Shawn Michaels. But yeah, Cody needs his due, man. He needs his due, but you got to put him in a situation to where it's going to make him look good and make him look so strong as a champion that nobody in the IWC, nobody that watches wrestling can question it. You got to put him in that position. If not, I mean, you're wasting him. You're flat out wasting him. All right. But yeah, so now I'm going to go over and I'm going to talk a little bit about boxing, but hey, I just got finished talking about the WWE. They want it all, straight up. They want it all. With this Evolve thing and other things that they have going on. Do you think they're going to stop at what they're doing as far as, tagging, the best schools and all that, what they're saying they're doing? They're not going to stop there. They want it all. They want all those bucks, man. That $300 gate, $500 gate, $700 gate or whatever that they're bringing in on the indie, at some indie show, that $700 gate and that, maybe $200 spiel that you get over there at the concession stand. You think WWE don't want that? They want that. They want that. Not just when they come to your city. They want you in front of your TV watching their product, not going out on a Saturday night or Friday night or Sunday night or whatever and watching some indie show. They don't want that. They don't want you doing that. They want you at home watching their product. If you're not watching their product, they want you watching the WWE Network or something like that. They want you watching their stuff. That's why they went out and bought everything. That's what Vince went out and bought all these libraries and stuff like that, so he can have a hold of all this content that people want to see and wrestling that they can't get out of their heads, what they grew up with and love. They have it. So anytime that you click on it on YouTube or anywhere that is available, Vince was getting paid for it, WWE was getting paid for it, and now they're still getting paid for it under the hand of TKO Holdings and Endeavor. They're still getting paid. Straight up, man. Straight up. They're getting paid for it. But hey, if you're on Facebook, you're checking this out, hit that like, share, join if you like this podcast. Hey, if you're on YouTube, hit the like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, ding, 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 so you know we're on like times like these. And plus, this gets it out to everybody else, man. Gets it out to a lot of other people, and they know that we're on. And if you over on Twitch, you do the same thing that you do over here on YouTube. Like, share, tweet, and retweet. No, that's Twitter. That's X. That's X, formerly known as Twitter. Like, share, tweet, and retweet. And over on Twitch, you do the same thing that you do over here on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, ding, 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 so you know we're on like times like these. Guys, I need you to do that. I need you to do that. I want you to do that. Put it that way. But hey, let's go on over to boxing, guys. All right, I'm briefly going to talk about this. I'm not going to talk about it long. And yes, I'm a huge boxing fan. And, hey, and a lot of people are going to know why I'm a huge boxing fan, but I am. I'm a huge boxing fan, love boxing. But we have a matchup coming towards the end of the year. I think it's in September, maybe October. I'm not sure. Bud Crawford, Terrence Bud Crawford will be challenging. He will be challenging, I think, super middleweight champion. I'm not sure. He's middleweight champion or super middleweight champion. He will be challenging Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez, great champion, been a champion for a long time. Bud Crawford now, I think, is a welterweight champion or super welterweight champion. I'm not sure. But he will be challenging Bud Crawford, I think. Not Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford, Terrence Bud Crawford will be challenging Canelo Alvarez. So a guy was talking, and he was talking about Sugar Ray Leonard. And he was saying that, hey, Bud Crawford is not as good as Sugar Ray Leonard. Now, a lot of people that was in the comments, what are you talking about now? They're huge fans of Bud Crawford. They are huge fans of Terrence Bud Crawford. And, hey, yes, he's a great boxer, probably the best, probably the most skillful boxer, maybe, that's walking around today, that's in the business today. Probably the most skilled boxer that's walking around today. But, a lot of fans was really upset with this guy. He was talking about Bud Crawford is not on Sugar Ray Leonard's, not on his level. Because they're talking about Bud Crawford is going to do Terrence Bud Crawford is going to do what Sugar Ray Leonard did to Donnie Lalonde, that that Bud Crawford will be able to do that to Canelo Alvarez. And this guy was saying that, Bud Crawford is not, no, he's not Sugar Ray Leonard. And Donnie Lalonde, he was a good fighter, but he was no Canelo Alvarez. Canelo is tough. That is a great Mexican fighter. He is a warrior. And there's only a couple times he's lost, man. He lost to Floyd Mayweather way back in the day, and he lost to a bigger, I forgot the other guy, Danny Bivol, who's much bigger than him. Who went up to light heavyweight and fought him, and Danny Bivol beat him. So, Canelo can take, he can take punches, so Terrence moving up. Will Terrence, Terrence fighting a guy who's fought in the middleweight division his whole career, and who done moved up to light heavyweight and has punching power and very skilled. Now, Terrence might be, Terrence is a little quicker, but do Terrence have better skill than Canelo Alvarez? I can't sit here and say that. I can't say that. I think he's very skilled, but Canelo is too. Terrence may be a slightly skilled more. I'll just go ahead and put that there. Even though I'm saying, I don't know. I'll say let's say he's a little slightly skilled, a little bit more. But can he take Canelo's power all the way through the fight? Now, Canelo Alvarez went, I think he beat Triple G 2 times. I think one was a draw. Did he win all 3 of those? Now, in Triple G, I have no reason to think that Terrence Bud Crawford can hit harder than Triple G. I have no reason to think that, man. And Triple G couldn't, he couldn't hurt Canelo. So why would I think Bud could do it? But this is talking about Sugar Ray Leonard and Terrence Bud Crawford. There is no comparison, man. Terrence Bud Crawford, a very skilled fighter, but he's no Sugar Ray Leonard. He's not. Sugar Ray Leonard is one of the greatest fighters of all time. And will Bud go down as one of the top 20 fighters, skilled fighters? Probably anywhere from 20 to 30, possibly. And anywhere from 15, I say 15 to 30. He's one of the most skilled fighters I ever seen. And I've seen a lot of them. Just like in wrestling, I've seen a lot of wrestlers. But yeah, Terrence Bud Crawford is no Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard is outstanding, man. He is an outstanding fighter with a lot of power. Now, Sugar Ray fought better fighters. And yeah, Sugar Ray has a few losses on his belt too. But Sugar Ray lost those fights. He lost one fight now. He lost against Roberto Duran while he was active. But Sugar Ray had to take off 3.5 years because he had a detached retina that happened in that Thomas Hearns fight. Now, if he never took off, do I think he would have lost a fight outside of Roberto Duran? Probably not. Probably not. It does something when you take off. I think he lost his legs. Same thing with Michael Jordan in basketball. When he left and had to come back, he went and play baseball, had to come back and play basketball. He lost his legs. He wasn't the same player. Muhammad Ali, when he had to, take that sabbatical, and he wasn't boxing for those years that he took off because he wouldn't go to the Vietnam War. And I think he was out of the business for like 5 years. He didn't have a fight for 5.5 years or something like that. Then he came back and he lost to Joe Frazier. He wasn't the same fighter. Muhammad Ali never got that back. Never got that back where he was when he was Cassius Clay. Never got it back. He still was great, but it was mostly hand speed. He did not, he was shuffle every now and then, the Ali shuffle, but as far as that bouncing around the ring, doing all that stuff, he never got it back. Roy Jones Jr. went from middleweight, super middleweight, went all the way up to heavyweight and came back down, flushed himself out, lost muscle and lost strength to come back down to fight Antonio Tarver. He wasn't the same fighter. He never got it back. So, so Sugar Ray Leonard, he never got back exactly what he had. But Bud Crawford being as good as Sugar Ray Leonard, I'm talking about Sugar Ray Leonard's whole career. If you want to compare those two fighters, I will never see Terrence Bud Crawford in that same league. Now, he probably was just as good as the older Sugar Ray Leonard, but the Sugar Ray Leonard, the prime Sugar Ray Leonard that came before he went out, no, he's not in the same league as that guy. in my opinion, and I watched both of them from a young age. No. Bud Crawford is no Sugar Ray Leonard. Not at all. I've seen people that Bud Crawford was fighting that Sugar Ray would have got out in 4 rounds. He would have got 4 or 6 rounds, and Bud went the distance with him. So, no. He's no Sugar Ray Leonard. Straight up. All right, what did AJ Skills say? AJ says, Harry, wrestling is the only thing missing. It's the only thing. Missing is us. Okay. All right, my girl, Christine, saucy girl. Harry, I think one of the things I miss most in wrestling is the humor. Back in the day with the Generation X and HBK and Triple H would do the skits of Shane and Vince and the other shenanigans. Yeah, they did. Oh, my gosh, man. Wow. It was a lot more humor in wrestling back in the day. It was. They didn't take things as serious. Now everything is serious. I think a little more serious because I think they're trying to pull in the fans. They are trying to. They're very desperate in trying to get them. And as far as this generation, they're not as funny as the generations past. They're just not. They don't have that. So I don't know. I really don't. But hopefully we can get some of that back. But once again, like I said, WWE wants it all. Cody Rhodes, hey, his he has so much great potential to go down as one of the greatest world champions of all time. I'm talking about he has the potential to be one of the top 10, top 11, 12 wrestlers of all time, heavyweight world champions of all time. But WWE got to put him in a position to where his potential can be maxed, man. They got to put him in that position to where they can get everything out of him, that he can get everything out of what he has as far as his talent. They got to put him in that position. Yeah, Christine says if they don't mess things up. I understand what you're saying, Christine. But I can't trust. I don't trust Triple H. And not saying Triple H wouldn't try to put him in the best position to maximize his potential. I just don't know if Triple H knows how to do it, or anybody else, Road Dogg, Shane Michaels, whoever else helping them book. I don't know if they actually know how to do it, and it's sad. But I appreciate everybody coming in once again, rocking with the Straight Up Wrestling Show. And if you haven't hit that like button, whatever platform you're on, go ahead and hit that like button. Appreciate Christine joining me this afternoon. AJ Skills joining me this afternoon. And everybody else that came through. And I see some of you still on. I appreciate each and every one of you coming through. But hey, let your friends know. Hey, the Straight Up Wrestling Show is rocking, and we will be on a little bit later on this evening. I'm not gonna say we're gonna do AEW Dynamite. I'm not gonna say we're gonna do Evolve, but we will be back later on this evening to do one of these shows. And man, I think it's gonna be a great night. I really do. I think it's gonna be a great night. So hey, definitely come back in and check us out. So I hope everybody has a great day. I really hope everybody has a great day. But yeah, if you haven't seen Evolve, if you haven't seen those episodes, go on Tubi. Everybody has Tubi, or you can download Tubi. Everybody can download Tubi. Go watch those Evolve episodes. They're not bad. They're not bad at all. I say it's like NXT, to a certain point. It's like AEW to a certain point. But AEW, on a smaller scale, it's very close. But if you like indie wrestling, if you like indie wrestling, if you go anywhere and watch indie wrestling, that's what you're gonna see over there on Evolve. It's basically like watching an indie wrestling show, straight up. But yeah, I appreciate everybody coming in. AJ Skills and Christine, I appreciate you coming in, your conversation. Hey, and stay straight up. I will see you guys later on this evening if I don't come back on before then. But I'll see y'all later. Stay straight up. Peace.